Once you start to realize that everything they told you is a lie, things start to make sense. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. If we take their message, those in the government, the media, and the establishments, and start to process that information as propaganda rather than as fact, it starts to make a lot of sense. And I've been doing this for many, many years. Once you start to see like Neo in the Matrix, it makes a lot of sense. Now, in today's video, I'm going to show you some things that might be hard for people to understand simply because it's not what I'm being told. Everyone's saying that this is the opposite. How could it be? But I'm going to show you the very real truth. We can look at anecdotal evidence and we can look at the raw data. We put these things together and we start to paint a picture. Are you ready? Let's begin. Here we go. Gen Z Philadelphia couple from successful families shoot to fame as homeless influencers, insist on living in a tent that is better than getting a job or having to pay rent. All right. So basically, their families, they're both successful. They were living inside of, you may have seen the video, they were living inside of these storage lockers. Then they moved into a tent. So you can see the two right here. You may have seen the other video whereby they, went and started to say, hey, we are doing good. We're living in this locker here. Everything's all good. If they have it in this one. And basically what they're just trying to say is everything was fine with us until our video went viral. And when it did, well then, we kind of got in trouble because they kicked us out. So they had to move out into a tent. Their parents said, come back home. You can come back home. They said no. So this is potentially what a lot of people are doing, in that they do not want to live the lifestyle of a 9-to-5 job, even if that means the uncertainty of living out in the wild. It's so unusual. But I have to say this, whatever their decisions are, whatever's happening here, if this is a growing trend, we're seeing a lot of people living in tents, that's for sure, living in their vehicles. And you can give your opinion on that in the comments. But what I see here is a big problem. You could have people, let's say 50 years ago, they would come to the United States, they would come to Canada from different parts of the world. They didn't even speak English, okay? They could somehow come. And as long as they were working, they could afford a house. They could afford, if they couldn't afford a house, they could afford a little condo, a little apartment. And it wasn't an issue. They made it happen, as long as they were employed. If they weren't employed, different story. But they worked, and they were able to get a place. Now today, people who have been living here can't even afford it. They graduate from college, university, and they're just saying, okay, I can't afford anything. I'm like heavily in debt, can't afford anything. Does that seem right to you? We've got a problem. 40-year-old homeowner says the economy doesn't add up. I'm making the most money I've ever made, and I'm still living paycheck to paycheck. Now that could be, for different factors. Could be they're bad with their money. They could be spent on this. It could be a situation in their life that was unfortunate. It could have been a divorce. It could have been a health problem. You don't know what's going on with people's lives. But so many times I'm hearing this. And it's brutal to hear it. And it shows us fundamentally there's a problem. Big problem. And don't just wait for more problems to pile up, because I'm telling you, they're coming. Start to take control of your life. If you live in Canada, are you earning something other than Canadian currency? Imagine, for every dollar you earned, you are then earning 30 cents on top of that. You gave yourself a raise of 30 cents. Isn't that nice? That's how you just got to learn how to make US dollar. Make US dollar, you just gave yourself a 30% bonus. How do you do that? Well, how do you earn money in the UK if you're in Canada? That would be even a bigger bonus. You got to start to open your eyes to these things. I cover that in depth in my live classes that I do on Friday and Sunday. Okay? Particularly on the Sunday class. All right. 2 years after the Fed began hiking interest rates to tame prices, delinquency rates on credit cards and auto loans are the highest in more than a decade. So you've got a big problem that people can't pay it back. Student loans, they're saying, yeah, we just got an issue because we can't pay it. Yeah, $1.7 trillion and they can't pay it. There's a lot of it being forgiven, but are you going to forgive all 1.7 trillion? That's going to be an issue. Quarterly net charge-offs, you could see that this has increased. Billions upon billions of dollars are not being paid. Interest payments by household, this is increasing. The total number, like total dollar value, as well as looking at the percentage here. Of course, interest rates are much higher than they've been in a long time. So you've got that in the household paying a lot, but also the government too. Imagine $1 trillion of interest, $1 trillion bucks, just in interest. It's worthless. That's not productive at all. That trillion could have went to support the economy. That trillion could have went to give your better infrastructure, better healthcare, real education, not the nonsense we have today. But instead, interest. It's wild. Okay? Households take on debt faster than before the financial crisis. This is the aggregate US credit card balance. Why? Why would somebody want something that is 20% interest? Okay, number one, it's easy, right? It's an easy thing to simply pull out the plastic, scan it, and as long as you make the minimums, everything's all good. Of course, it's not. But a lot of the people are desperate. They need whatever that is, and they are using their credit card to pay for it. Not everybody. Lowest earners saw the biggest increase in delinquencies. We're seeing this all over the place. There's no question about it. You pull the Fed data directly from the Fed and you see that. Every month they produce that. American dream of owning a home is dead, majority of renters say. Of course, you've got people that could come to the country and they now have to live 4 people, 8 people, like stacked up to the sky bunk beds, because these things are like it's unimaginable how expensive it is. It's a telltale sign of a devaluing currency and a bubble that has been built. Homeowners need to earn 80% more than in 2020 to afford a house in this market. You see this? 80% more. Did your salary increase by 80%? The vast majority of people will say, no, that's not true. That did not happen. And so for so many people, if you're not increasing your income by 50% a year, and I've told this to the people in my live sessions, I said, you got to figure out a way to increase by 50% per year. And I'm not saying that in a way, to shock anybody or to hurt anybody. I'm saying that because that will be a level that will allow you to survive and you'll be okay. That's shocking to me to say that, but it's not meant to. This is the world we live in today, where inflation numbers will not add up to real inflation. And in order to be comfortable, you need to have more, much more than you think, because prices are so high and they're not coming down. So like, this thing is coming behind you. It's like, being chased and you could see the big thing, the big boulder. It's chasing, it's coming, it's getting closer, it's getting closer. And this thing is going to roll over you, but you've got to be able to get ahead. There's no question about that. There's no doubt about this. And I talk about this over time, but you could see it here anyway. Supermarket sticker shock, grocery prices outpace consumer price index. People are paying more for the basics, and they don't even realize that this is not going to stop. Food prices are up, energy prices, looking at the housing prices, rent, everything. A programmable army of humanoid robots. They are going to replace human labor with robots, AI, and they are going to do so at a rate you simply cannot keep up with. Understand that this is happening. Even Sam Altman has said that the rate at which, the pace at which, AI is advancing, robotics are advancing, the people cannot be retrained on it. It's not like, you know what, we'll just all get jobs doing stuff with robots. It's not going to happen. If you're going to school now, you could start learning this stuff. But even Leather Jacket Man from NVIDIA said himself, don't learn programming. Okay? Sam Altman said, programming will be done in natural language in the near future. This is the world we live in today. It's evolving so fast, you can't keep up. 2 things. I got Finance Friday. I got my Business Sunday. The business one, I teach people how to start making money from places all around the world so that you can take advantage of the circumstances that you could not do before. The online business world is something that I have been doing, and I'm winding down the Money GPS so that, I shouldn't say I'm winding it down. It winded itself down. And now, I am basically just doing this, and that's what I do. I'm going to spend more time and more energy and more effort with the live classes on Friday, on Sunday, and I hope that you'll join me on there so you can learn what I do. It's all about that. Link is in the description. If you're interested, hit that thumbs up button on the way out. And as always, I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.